All right, hello everybody, my name is Tanner Kyler, and today I'm doing a video over old growth prairies in Oklahoma and some of the bottomland forests as well, as I've done before in the past. And today I'm starting here on a roadside, and we're going to go up on some of the pastures on my parents' land and go through some of the old growth forest that hasn't been grazed in over a year, and also hasn't been dozed in a better part of a decade, and has a plethora of our native flora and fauna, man, these things. But anyways, where we're starting today is on a roadside, like I said, and we have a really pretty view here of a lot of this rough blazing star. So I'm going to turn around the camera and show you guys that. So right here we have a ton of that rough blazing star. You can see all of its puffy seed heads. Come on, focus. Yeah, you can see there are hundreds of these seed heads here. On this side of the fence here, right here. So this side of the fence is grazed, and you can see there isn't much blazing star out here. It's probably been sprayed out or eaten by the cattle. But on this side, this area hasn't been grazed or dozed or anything in a very long time. So the remnant prairie of the prairies that were here for thousands of years. So these root systems down below my feet are complex, very old. This is a very biodiverse area. I come here to collect seed quite often. And this area is just one of my favorites to collect seed from, because look at all of that blazing star. It's absolutely beautiful whenever it's in bloom. I'll put a photo up here on the screen, but it is just stunning when all of this is all purple and full of life. There's also milkweed that grows alongside of it, and there'll be butterflies all over this. It's one of my favorite places to come. So here I'm making a seed mix with an old pack of seed that I have here. I've just been filling it up with a bunch of stuff. I'm gonna go spread that out, then I'm gonna go collect more. So we're probably gonna collect about a 5-gallon bucket or more. Big blue stem, little blue stem. We're really gonna be hitting the native tallgrass plants today. So I'm gonna go through and show you guys all of those. We're just starting here on the side of the road here in Osage County, Oklahoma. Got my truck parked right there. Haven't had anybody even drive by this morning, so this is a very desolate area. This area I'm standing in is very dry. This rough blazing star loves the dry soil. They can live for dozens of years because they're perennial, so they come back year after year after year, and they get these large tubers that they grow from. So if you go and buy some from a garden center or something, you're most likely going to get them as tubers in the spring or late fall, and this is a great time to plant them. Most prairie plants, they're best to transplant in this time of year, so around late October, whenever the plants are going dormant, but it's not too cold yet, so they can get those root systems ready for the winter, or after the heart of the winter, around March, whenever it starts to warm back up. It's another really good time to transplant them. But the thing about native plants is you can transplant them year round as long as you give them a little bit of water and care. I've had success, about a 90% success rate on most of the things I transplant. Now, so I'm gonna set that bag down. So this seed is very easy to collect. So if we go here and pull these puffs off, we look in here, look at all of that viable seed. Now, some of them have holes in them. You see insects have been using it, but that's probably about 50 or 60 seeds just off that one clump. As you can see, they flutter in the wind and they carry really well. So you never want to take more than 10% of what's here. So leave 90% for nature. The birds are going to eat these seeds, spread them out. And these seeds also need to be here for repopulation, so we can keep a population this thick of them. Just look how beautiful all of these flowers are, even after they're done blooming. And we just have all these seed tufts. They make excellent winter interest. A lot of people want to get rid of their stuff in the fall, but you know, this is going to be an excellent food source for birds throughout the winter. So you got to think about all those other living organisms that are needing all of the symbiotic relationships with these prairie plants. So if you have native plants in your gardens at home, please don't take them down till spring, because there's also, in the stems of all of these plants, we have hundreds and hundreds of baby solitary bees that are going to come out in the spring and come out and pollinate all of these flowers. Just look how pretty all these seed heads are. I just can't get over it, even though it's, you know, past the first frost. We just have so many of them growing here. Just had someone drive by, but gosh, they're so dusty. But these are just so pretty. I could spend all day out here seed collecting, but I don't have all day, so I got to get going. I got to get these collected, and then we're going to go out and collect some stuff in the other areas. But before we do that, I want to show this milkweed pod. So this one hasn't opened up quite yet. So this is the seed pod of a milkweed. I don't know which species it is. It could be butterfly milkweed. It could be Asclepia viridis, the green antelope horn. Let's crack it open and I'll show you how to get the seeds out of these guys. One second. So you can see it just cracks here in the middle. These things will open up and puff out and spread in the wind. Brown seed in there, we got dozens of them. I'm just gonna throw this whole seed pod in here and collect that later. But that's how you collect milkweed. There's a bunch growing along here as well. The milkweed paired with this blazing star is absolutely beautiful. There's also, you know, we have side oats, grama growing here, little blue stem, big blue stem, Indian grass, switchgrass. Excellent prairie. But let's get back to the truck and keep on moving. I went ahead and filled up an individual bag so I can grow some in flats so I can get them, you know, in cultivation. But right over here, it kind of ends, like right there where that Johnson grass starts growing, it abruptly ends and it, all the way that way. I don't know if it's the Johnson grass spreading and ruining this prairie or if we're on a glade here. We got shallow soil or something, but there's just a small little patch here where the rough blazing star grows and then it doesn't really grow anywhere else past that. I don't know if it's because there's too much competition, what it is. My assumption would be that the Johnson grass is killing it, or we're on a glade here and we got real shallow soil. It's too dry for Johnson grass to grow and we have a remnant of the prairie. I'm not really sure, but all right. The truck and keep on moving. Right here on the drive to the ranch, we have a bunch of bison that the Osages have put out here. They've high fenced it up, but it's really cool being able to see all these ancient creatures out here in their native habitat on the drive out to my parents. Got 2 giant males, 3 giant males laying all together. Those guys probably weigh 2,000 to 3,000 pounds. Huge bison right up here next to this. Oh, there's the scissortail right there. That's a scissortail flycatcher, or is that a catbird? I think it's a scissortail. Right here, I want to pull over and collect some seed. Right here, I'm stopping real quick because we got a bunch of stiff goldenrod that I'm gonna collect. This is an excellent, beautiful pollinator species. Collect some of these seed heads here. These are easier just to collect and then just like knock their seeds around. You can see all those little ones flying around. Those are gonna spread through the wind. Just to collect them like this and then walk around where you want to spread them and just, you know, knock them all over the place. Let the wind carry them all over your property. Along with all that stiff goldenrod like right there, we also have a bunch of Canadian goldenrod growing right over there. I'm gonna collect some seed from as well. Just down the road here, we have a ton of stiff goldenrod I'm gonna collect some seed from. I just wanted to show how abundant it can get growing up with all these prairie plants, and whenever it's in bloom, it's beautiful. I made a video you know, a while ago. I'll put the link on here of this place whenever it's in bloom. Absolutely beautiful. We have all these yellow showy but bushy tops on all these stiff goldenrod just growing all throughout here, and pollinators and butterflies just flying all in between them. It's beautiful. Now with these, I'm gonna spread them. They probably won't bloom the first year, so if you ever get some stiff goldenrod and spread it around, don't be discouraged if it doesn't bloom its first year. Normally its first year it works on its roots and leaves, and then the second year it starts to bloom, and then each individual clump can live for decades. All right, we're on our way. It's been a couple hours. We're on our way down to the pasture, but on the side of the road here, there's a bunch of either smooth sumac or staghorn sumac. I can't tell, but I'm collecting seed because I needed some of it because all I've gotten is wing sumac this year. And if you have a bunch of sumac and you want to grow them from seed, something to know is you need to scarify them with boiling water. They will not grow properly without the scarification that they need from boiling water. They also prefer a winter, like a cold stratification oil with that, but boil them like tea and then spread the seeds out. And they'll germinate much better because they're normally eaten and digested by birds, and the digestive enzymes of the bird's stomach break down the outside of the seed coat, and then they poop them out, making it easier for them to germinate. So that means they won't germinate very well without some kind of scarification. But we're gonna get on down the road and go see some of those old growth prairies I'm talking about. I'm kind of standing in one currently, but it's overridden with Cerisa lesbedeza, which is a really invasive species here in Oklahoma, introduced for dams and supposedly to help the quail, but it's done nothing but decimate their population and destroy the home that they live in. All right, I got my bucket and my backpack. We got the dogs with us, and we're gonna go hike up to the top of this hill here, and then it goes back probably about probably 3/4 of a mile maybe, and then we're gonna hit a fence line and come back and then walk this creek over here, which has a lot of the cool riparian trees and stuff there. So already, just behind me is the house. We're already seeing American narrowleaf gumweed, which is a native aster to this area. But it looks, let me turn the camera around. Right now it looks like this. It has these spiny, narrow leaves here. Has these spiny, narrow leaves, and then at the top it has its dead flower that has produced a lot of seeds. So if I take one of these and crumble it up, you can see in here all those little white seeds right there. So these guys have a really pretty flower. I'll put a picture of it on here, and flourish in a lot of North America. So right here, we're starting to get into the older prairie here. We got a bunch of little blue stem. You just collect its seeds. Whenever it's ready to fall off, it'll just fluff into your hand. They carry by the wind. Oh, that all got blown away. But you see here, all of these seeds poking out on the side. Just grab them like this, and you'll have a good amount of seed there. And then right over next to it, we have some big blue stem, the first that we're seeing. And it has quite a bit of seed, but this area needs more, so I'm gonna spread it out and wait till we get to the real thick stuff at the top for most of the seed collection. Right here we have a pre-existing road that used to go up this hill. It's got overgrown and washes started forming on it. We have this very large clay area here, and it's gonna keep growing if we don't do something about it, because there's no organic material in it, so the grasses don't do well, and none of the prairie plants are doing well here. So it just keeps getting larger and larger every year, creating a canyon. So we need to end up putting some organic material in here to slow the flow of water. So a bunch of hay or mulch would be good. So maybe able to chop down a bunch of these native grasses and lay them down in here. That'll help slow the flow of water. Right here, I think we have one of the, I'm pretty sure it's the native kind of Cerisa. I could be wrong, but it looks a little different. So it's either Cerisa lesbedeza or it's the native kind of lesbedeza, which we do have here in Oklahoma, and some of it's really pretty. So it's really windy here on the top, so everything's kind of shorter. It's a lot higher winds, it's a little drier, so everything's a little shorter, but it's more compacted. Here we have a bunch of pretty split beard blue stem, I think, mixed in with a bunch of little blue stem. A few big blue stems in here. It's really pretty up here on top of this hill, and this forest is kind of growing in. We're kind of getting the savanna type habitat growing, coming back. You know, we got to keep these periodic fires, but as long as we do that, this will be an excellent savanna. And it's gonna get pretty cold here in a little bit, so we're gonna go to the back and then hike down in the forest where it should be cooler and less windy, and that's actually where the best grass will be. Beans, what are you doing? You having a good time? Yeah, this is a good walk. We've probably gone about a half a mile so far. We still, you know, might be closer to a mile to the back, so we got a little bit to go. So we're out here in the prairie now, kind of in a clearing. The grass is getting much taller. It's about 6 feet tall at the highest, but about 3.5 feet tall, like bushy grass up here. And the wind is much higher than it was down low. But a lot of our seed is blowing around, but try not to let too much of it blow out. But yeah, we got big blue stem clumps all over the place. We got switchgrass growing right here. Right over here, we got some oaks. Those look like post oaks, nice little grove that survived the spray that they did up here. So this place does have not as many wildflowers as it should by far, because it's been sprayed a few times with herbicides, which, you know, get rid of all of the native wildflowers. So there are some recovering, and we don't plan on spraying for a while. And sometimes it's needed to get rid of the Cerisa, because the Cerisa will take over. But this area isn't grazed, and you can see it's very tall, and there isn't much Cerisa. And I think grazing definitely leads to the Cerisa overtaking the land, because all the grass gets eaten and the Cerisa takes over. But out here, you can see, I've seen a few small clumps growing, but the prairie is growing very healthy, and it hasn't been grazed by anything, not with livestock for over a year. So it's really healthy. Rather than putting a picture on here, well, I'll take a picture of it. But here we have a gumweed that's still in bloom. Here's its seed growing right here. This is a different species of gumweed. I'll take a photo of it and figure out what it is. But but it has its seeds on these little flaps to catch in the wind, these little hairs. So if I take it and I sprinkle it like so, they'll take off in the wind and carry, you know, sometimes if they hit the wind just right, they can go miles away. There's a bunch of barefaced limestone rock here, kind of like a little glade. So the soil is definitely shallower here. And this grass is still getting pretty tall. It's super dense and it's solid blue stems and Indian grass on here. It's really pretty. And it's getting really thick. It's getting thicker as we go back. And as we go down in elevation, there'll be more water, so it'll be even better. It's so pretty out here. The sun hitting all those seed heads. It's kind of a glare. Yeah, it's a little better. It's gorgeous out here. Over there at the tree line, there's probably deer crawling along this tree line, and they come through here. This is one of the spots that's really good for deer hunting, because they have to cross through this prairie to get down to the bottom one forest. So they come out in the open here, but they blend in so well with the grass, it can be almost impossible to see them or find them in their scope. So it is currently November 1st, 2025, and the frost just hit a few days ago. We had a couple light frost, which helps make the seeds easier to pull. That's why the little blue stem, like right here, when I grab it, is so easy to collect from at this time of year, because normally the frost helps loosen the seeds, so they start to drop them after the frost hits as the plant starts to go dormant. So this is a good time to get out there and collect native seeds. There's quite a bit of asters blooming still out here, so we'll see those every once in a while. They're probably our latest blooming flowers at the moment, of these asters. Been only seeing these smooth white ones though. Look at all these beautiful oak trees out here. We got a bunch of post oaks. These large ones out here with that almost live oak shape to them are the post oaks. One of the most prominent trees up in the cross timbers on the edge of the prairies. Right over here, we got a shallow kind of glade area. We got a lot of rocks, so it's shallow soil. And that's where I seem to find all the liatris growing. So this is all this rough liatris, I believe is what it is. Stuff I was collecting in the beginning of the video, growing out here in the wild. Now I'm not gonna take too much of this because I want it to spread back here, but I will take a few clumps for genetic diversity so I can get a good amount of these seeds from different places. So there's good genetic variation, so they're more resistant to disease, heat, climate change, that kind of stuff. There's a dormant seed head of a narrow leaf coneflower. It looks pretty similar to the narrow leaf coneflower, or pale purple coneflower. Looks pretty similar to the purple coneflower, but its blooms look almost identical. There's a little bit more pale. Sometimes they can be purple though, but they get the real narrow leaves. Oh, that is really cool. There is a yucca growing here. Not sure what the species is. Adam's needle yucca is what it is, but we don't have a lot of those left. That's really cool that we got a yucca growing out here in the prairie. You don't get a lot of those in the tall grass as of now. The dog just walked through it. All right. Especially out in this condition. It's real shallow soil, real dry. You can tell it's also where the liatris grows. There's another one growing over there. That's really cool. I haven't seen one of those in a while. So actually, I just looked it up. It's an Arkansas yucca, Yucca arkansalis. I mean, that's its Latin name. So, and we're pretty close over. So these are one of the ones that grow in the eastern. They almost look like sago palms. They almost look like they're close to a palm, but this is actually a yucca. This is, you know, you'll find them further east sometimes. I know I've seen some down in southeast Oklahoma, but I wasn't sure what species this is, but really beautiful. I've seen their flowers sometimes, and they'll get about 4 feet tall and have a shower of beautiful white, sometimes yellowish flowers. So I was just talking about that yucca there, and I found one of the coolest plants that is native to Oklahoma, and this is Escobaria missouriensis, the Missouri foxtail cactus. It is a hedgehog cactus species. They love these limestone soils. I only find them in limestone flats where there's not a lot of other things growing here to compete, some short grasses for some shade. But then they'll also normally be some oak savanna nearby growing in these glades. Here's a little baby one growing right there and another one right there. Oh, that's awesome. I've collected these in the past in an area that was going to get dozed, and relocated some to a botanic garden here in Oklahoma. But these are awesome. These are probably my favorite species of cactus native to Oklahoma. We have a lot of prickly pears, but this by far stands out. Beautiful, beautiful. This one's probably, I don't know, probably 40, 50 years old. It's been here for a while. It's got so many clumps. Like this one's probably 2 or 3, maybe 4 years old. It depends. But is there another one over there?
There's a
gotta be careful where I step, not to step on one.
Yeah, I know. I checked under my feet after you found that one. I'm not standing in one.
Yeah, right over here, there's another one growing, another little one.
Do you think it made a seed?
Yeah, so this one's probably the mother and all the ones around it. So let's be careful where we're walking from now on. Those are also known as horse crippler cactus, but they actually can't cripple a horse. There is one species that grows down in southern Texas, southern New Mexico, that can actually cripple a horse or pop a tractor tire, more likely. Talon found a little mushroom growing up here. There's a couple of them growing right there. So right here we have the eastern prickly pear. The dogs are gonna walk over it. Growing right here. This is one of the more common ones. Beautiful yellow flower on them. I have a bunch at my parents' house, probably about 20 clumps of them, and they're getting bigger every year. They're perennial, they come back year after year. They like partial shade. They grow up in the prairie, so the prairie grows around them, but they can handle full sun. There's a bunch of prickly pear over there. But right here, look at all that beautiful moss. We just had a rain recently. It's all green. You see that biological crust going, holding in moisture, helping sequester carbon. That's really cool. There's some more prickly pear. And that Escobario missouriensis that I was talking about, that foxtail cactus, I think is cold hardy to the zone 5A. So you can grow them all the way up in like Nebraska, in like Omaha and stuff. They're one of the more cold hardy ones. There's some that grow up there in the northern plains, up there in Montana and stuff, that can handle down to like -20, which is really cool, -30. Some real cold hardy cactus here. I know there's some in Saskatchewan, so they definitely have to be pretty cold hardy. A lot of prickly pear grow up north though. Further south in the deserts near the Sonoran Desert down in Arizona, you get the big cactus. So if you ever want to go see the big saguaros, don't mistake yourself and go to like northern Arizona. Definitely go down south, closer to Tucson, Phoenix even, if you want to see some of those big cactus. An interesting fact about this area is this limestone here is evidence of a shallow ocean that used to cover Oklahoma. So we're standing in a dead coral reef currently, and the grass is growing right out of it. We're at elevation like 800 feet, something like that here now. But this area used to be shallow ocean when the oceans were higher and the Rocky Mountains hadn't formed and picked up the plains a little bit. And all that sediment running off from the Rockies built up the plains. There's a beast of a post oak right there. That thing's got to be at least 100 years old. The thing's huge, growing right up here. Luckily when they doze, sometimes on these edges, they would leave little forest of them where they'd come back. But this guy right here has definitely been there for a better part of a century. It's a real big, pretty post oak tree. You see kind of what I mean by that live oak kind of growth with those downward facing branches that are all knotty and twisty. Really beautiful. They just remind me of a smaller version of a live oak from Louisiana. But these guys get up, this guy's probably around, I don't know, what do you say, Talon? 40, 50 feet tall? About that same width. So, rather large tree. You know, doesn't compare to like the giant bottomland, like pin oaks and stuff, but still a beautiful tree. You know, they remind me also kind of a bur oak as well. You know, I'm not really sure what these are, what kind of species these are. I thought these were the same ones, but they have different seed on them. These are some more liatris. There's some good seed in there. Growing here. These look like a different species though. Let me try to figure out what they are. So yeah, these are rough liatris. Whatever we were collecting before, I might have been calling them the wrong name because these seed a little bit different than the other ones. So maybe mistaken, might be collecting two different species. Now I think I definitely am. And I kind of thought that before, but I guess I was wrong on the species. I'll figure out what those are. We've dropped in elevation, so now we're in sandstone here on this outcrop. Got some beautiful forest right here in front of us we're about to go down into. We're gonna stop on that rock right there and get the seeds out of our shoes. Yeah, look at all that lichen on this rock. It's beautiful. This is sandstone rock. That liken's chowing away, making new soil. Look at all that. That's beautiful. Those trunks of those trees. It's a real nice, healthy forest here. I'm not sure what kind of oak that is. That's cool. We got some mullein growing way out here. Better rip that out. I just poured some water on this. This is the dry stuff that didn't get water poured on it. Right there. That's where I poured the water. You see how much more green it is. It's starting to open back up. So these guys go dormant whenever it's dry and then wake back up during the rain. They're basically kind of a resurrection plant, but these are mosses. Right here we got a lead plant growing. That's a pretty weird place for it to be growing, but it might be safe from the herbicides with these trees all above. There's some Indian plantains growing right here. They didn't bloom this year, but growing right here, kind of in this understory. A lot of them like shade or real thick prairies to grow in. It's pretty rough coming off this hill right here. I see water down there, so we're getting close to the creek, and right here, the understory opens up a little bit, and the grass gets a lot thicker. I can only imagine how intense the fire would have been ripping up this hill last time we burned. We're gonna burn again, not this next spring, but the next spring. Even though it would be more beneficial to burn in the, late summer, it's, cattle need to have something to sustain on. And it's hard to burn this without spreading into other people's places. There's a native red mulberry growing right here. That's cool. I'm seeing them come back. Look at the fall color of that. I believe that's a green ash or a hickory. It's hard to tell. That might be. It looks like a green ash with its pinnate leaves. It's a real pretty one. It's got that orange golden hue to it. So here we're getting into the real tall grass area. The savanna keeps the grass from blowing over as bad. And it gets so thick. We had a lot of rain this year. This is about to be seed collectors heaven. It gets way thicker as we go the other way. But look at all this big blue stem all around us. This is a really magnificent area. This is really old growth prairie right here. It's definitely been here for thousands of years, growing generation after generation on top of each other, building up the nice fertile soil closer to this creek where a lot of it gets deposited. There's a real pretty black walnut. I think that's what that is. No, that right there is a hickory or a green ash. I think that one's a hickory. They're kind of hard to tell apart from far away. Yeah. There's a big black walnut right there. Got sprayed. Let's see, it's pulling through. That's real good. Those black walnuts are pretty rare. That's insane. These are so tall. They're almost twice your height.
Yeah.
So that'd make it about 10 feet tall, a little over 10 feet. So I think they're about 8 feet tall, some of them. They're taller than me, and I'm around 6 feet tall, so. Show you how tall it is. Yeah, that's definitely got to be like 8 or 9 feet tall.
Mm-hmm.
So
you can't really even see.
You can't see the top of it?
No.
Oh. Tall, for sure. At least 9 feet. That's insane. I think we got a bunch of sea oats down here. They like water areas with a lot of water near creeks. Partial sun to full shade. They do well around these forested areas. I'm gonna come around here and collect some of this and spread it around. That way, we get some growing around those creeks. We already have a small population going in the restoration area, but it's always good to increase what we have. Look at all those sea oats. Real pretty. They're beautiful in the winter time. They leave those seeds on them. They kind of murmur or shimmer in the wind. It's really pretty. It's nice to plant around the bases of your trees, like in your backyard, near a porch or something. So I think we got a couple cool things here. Right here, we have a scrape mark from a buck on these eastern red cedar. They like to do it on the cedars. They do that, I think, to help get the velvet off. Maybe it also sharpen or polish their antlers. I'm not really sure exactly 100% why they do it. And then we had a pretty caterpillar somewhere behind Talon on that leaf. Right there. You can see how tall that wild rye is. Or not, I meant sea oats is. The bird is hiding down behind it.
Mm-hmm.
So we've gotten down closer to the creek, and the terrain's gotten much rougher. There's down trees everywhere. Everything's about 5 feet tall, but super thick. Vines all in it. Much harder to travel through down in these creek bottoms. But we're trying to cross over there to that side, where I believe there's a lot more grass across the creek. We're down here at the water now. The dogs are getting a drink. And look at that bulrush there. Nice big clump go down in the water. It's thick here. We're going to try to cross where this bank's kind of washing out. There's some blue mist flower, the Conocleum celestium, growing right down here. It's about past its bloom time. It's about to put on flowers. Beans, do it again. Come on. She's walking on this log. Let me walk on the other side. Oh. What the little dogs are doing it. So proud of yourself. So this is all sea oats. This is a huge field of it, or like grove of it. It's growing up under these trees. It's beautiful. Got all these drooping seed heads on them. I love this spot. I'm gonna collect more seed. This is seed collector's dream right here. We got so much big blue stem in such abundance. It's so thick right here. We're gonna follow along that creek there, go up there. I'm not really sure where we're gonna end up though, but we're getting closer back to the house. So right now, it's getting a lot warmer, so we had to take off our things. Oh, there's a huge thing up there of bushy blue stem. I gotta go check that out. And we're leaving the forest now, coming out here on top. I'll flip the camera around real quick. Beautiful hillside covered in grass here, but if you look way up there, there's some bushy blue stem growing in that marshy area. Oh, there's some right in front of us, so we'll just keep moving this way. Let's go up a little bit though. We got all this bushy blue stem. This is the largest population I've seen out here on this land, so this is really cool. That's why I'm freaking out about it. Look at that beautiful rock face over there. It's awesome, and all that bushy blue stem in front of it. We got a nice little marsh here. We got button bushes growing in it, and a bunch of bushy blue stem. I don't really see any cattails, which is also a good sign that this wetland hasn't been taken over by cattails. It's very biodiverse. It's really beautiful. There's rushes all in here. It's up on this hillside. There must be a spring up here in this hill leaking down and settling here in this kind of level spot. Look right over there. It's so pretty. Battery died there. Had to switch the camera battery out. But look at all that bushy blue stem over there and those rock faces over there. It's hard to get how pretty that is, but it's really pretty. This one's a tricky one to collect because whenever you like try to grab it, it just like fluffs out everywhere and hits the wind and starts going all over the place. So I just want to collect the whole seed head and throw them inside my bucket because I don't know how else to keep it held on. This is gonna fly everywhere and be annoying during the hike. Come back up in my face so bad. The big blue stem is giant down here. Ton of seed too. Really easy to collect from. I mean, this bucket's getting about a third full and it's starting to weigh quite a bit. And that's saying something because the seed's light. We got some passion flowers growing right here. These are really beautiful. Their blooms are alien-like. Probably one of the weirdest and most tropical looking flowers we have here in Oklahoma. But yeah, we're getting close to the end of the hike. We're almost back to the road. Once we get back to the road, we'll just be able to cut back to where the car's parked. We got an odd looking mushroom down here it's some kind of puffball growing underneath these oaks. That's pretty cool. I have a really big stand of big blue stem. And these are the kind of the formations they'll make in the wild when they get, you know, decades or hundreds of years, centuries to grow, and just keep spreading through seed and rhizomes. You get these giant clumps. We don't have a ton of grazers coming through, constantly whacking them down. They'll get, you know, very tall. This area's a little windier, so they're not as tall as some of the ones down in the forest, but this is a really impressive stand of big blue. You can think of this as seeing, you know, in the old growth forest, seeing, you know, giant hemlocks or redwoods or giant ancient oaks growing. These prairies are just as ancient, and the plants that grow here, you know, to the untrained eye, this is just another clump of grass, but this thing has this clump here. You never know, could have saw a megafauna at some point. So that's why it's important to protect these ecosystems, because about 99% of the tallgrass prairie is damaged or completely destroyed. So we need to protect these places. This is the most endangered ecosystem on Earth, or one of them. And so I'm out here collecting seed, trying to spread the range out and get them in cities and parks, everything I can. So I have no idea what this thing is, but it's beautiful. I'll put its name on there. Never seen that thing before. So we just found some dog bane, and I thought they had already dropped their seeds, but I cracked it open. These are their seed pods, and they're full of seeds still. Most of them have already been cracked open. This is their seed pod here. If you crack it open, see all those fluffs start to come out, and there's a ton of seed in there. See the orange seed popping out. There's probably 50 or 60 in each pod. We got on a decent trail here. It's a little deer trail, so we're moving along a little faster. Look at this. We got silphium growing here. It's a compass plant. Beautiful. We only have one of them. I bet there's more out there. This area got sprayed, so I thought they would all be gone, and the cattle overgrazed. So now the cattle are gone and they aren't spraying. Look at what's coming back. These dudes get like a 20-foot taproot on them. It's like a giant carrot. It's really cool. They lived over 100 years. Awesome plant. I just want you to see, with no development around here, just prairie grasses and forest, how clear that water is here in Oklahoma. It's crystal clear. And there's not even much limestone down there. Limestone helps clear up water. It looks like mostly sandstone, and it's still crystal clear. From all of this filtering it through a huge mosaic of roots and mycelium in the soil, filtering all this water before it gets down here through all of this. And he's muddying it all up. That sun coming through those, it's so beautiful. See, just think, you could have this in your backyard, yet people still choose to have lawns. This is absolutely beautiful. You have a full sun backyard, go ahead and kill that sod out and plant native prairie plants or whatever plants are native to your area. Just do a quick Google search, find a, good seed mix or something, and spread those in. We got another huge pocket of bushy blue stem up there on that hill, and we're spreading them around. If you take it out with that bucket there, take these and just spread them in the wind. Look at them all hit the wind and go. And some of them I'm seeing are traveling. I mean, they're already 100 yards away. Some are further. Some are hitting the wind and just getting out of here, spreading this population out all across the land. Traversing through more of the bottomlands down here in the cross timbers is very difficult. And you can imagine being in a wagon and a horse, this would be very difficult terrain to travel through. And with all these low-hanging sharp branches, they just tear the canvases to shreds. So that's what gives the cross timbers the nickname of the cast iron forest, as it was virtually impossible to traverse through it without cutting down all the trees first. We've taken a big circle, so that's the hill we climbed. So we climbed up right over here and hiked all the way back to the very back end of that hill, hiked down all the way back over here. So we've probably traveled about 3 miles, 4 miles in total. It's hard to tell. It's been really rugged. This is one of the more wild hikes we've done in a while. This area was logged, or not logged, but dozed, probably about 15, 20 years ago, but the pecans are coming back resiliently, and the willows are growing along the stream here. We got elms popping up. You can see there's some rather large willows like back over there along this wetter area. Get a bunch of sea oats here too. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, subscribe, comment if you have any questions, and we'll see you next time. All right, we made it back to the house, and that's gonna be about it for today. We're gonna go spread these seeds around the restoration area after this. So yesterday I collected a ton of seed. I got about a third, almost a half of a 5-gallon bucket here of seed. This is big blue stem Indian grass, bushy blue stem. Bushy blue stem we're gonna try to spread down at the wetter areas near the marsh. But here's how I spread it. I literally just grab handfuls and then let the wind kind of carry it out and spread it evenly so we can get a foothold here and hopefully one day dominate this area.